time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 227 of Born to be Wild, a wild and wild adjacent Hearthstone podcast where we have fun, hanging out with friends, talking about the wild and adjacent formats of Hearthstone, and spotlighting members of the wild community. I am your host, ElectricSheepCity. It is great to be back on this beautiful Friday evening here in beautiful Kickin' Rad, Colorado. I am joined by fellow host Hydralisk.
Yo!
And SchmoopyDady.
Happy back, wild and adjacent.
For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs. And the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes. You.
Content plug, SchmoopyDady. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you could unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about Wild Hearthstone. Links to all this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Sheep, how was your week?
My week was pretty kickin' rad. For starters, at one point, I was getting something out of something at the top of, what do you call it in the bathroom with the linen closet. Words
That's
are hard.
the one.
I got there.
Closet of linen.
Yeah. So I was getting something from the top of that, and like there's a scale like at the bottom of it. So like I just stepped on that thing to get up there, and I haven't weighed myself in months. And I looked down. I was like, I have not actively been trying to lose weight. I've been inspired by my buddies here, but like I haven't been like actively pursuing a thing. I've cut back some stuff, but I haven't been like, clearly I haven't weighed myself in months. My friends, I lost about like 20, 30 pounds and am really happy about that. Yeah.
Wow.
It's quite the sheer.
So did you... Zing. Now, was this intentional, or is this because you're like studying for school, working, raising a child? Like, is this like stress weight loss, or is this like eating healthy weight loss, or little column A, little column B?
Probably a little bit of both. So we were like, eating a little bit healthier, like just portion control in general, but wasn't actively pursuing it. Just kind of trying to eat a little better in general. And I've been doing that for a few months. So that was pretty nice. I do, however...
Well done.
Thank you. I do, however, need to start lifting some weights at some point, probably after I finish grad school, because I need to match my twist persona of a hand buff paladin, at least a little bit. Not to, an absurd extent, but so I hit Legend in Twist. Twist rolled out on, was it the 2nd, the 3rd this week, and so I hit their thing on day 2 of the format, and I hit it about 200. We'll go into why there's kind of a discrepancy here. in the news in a little bit because like looks a little funky because I hit it about like 201. I hit it at 201, but on the leaderboards it said that I was number 3, which was pretty kicking red too.
That's more than 2.
Unfortunately accurate. I have been 2. I've never held the number 1. I've been so close. Alas. But been having a blast playing that format. My actual, the one that I made after this one, because some of the cards have since changed for some reasons that we'll get into later as well. But it's called Sheep Should Lift. Because I thought that was funny. It's a joke. Huh? Yeah, that's how jokes work. You explain them and then they get funnier.
And then they get funnier. Yeah, I learned that from
I
you.
still don't get it.
Louder and slower. Tell them again, louder and slower.
So I also have been, taking some of those grad classes. I was like, once grad school ends, so I should be done in June. I finished a class last week. Last week I finished up a class and got another A. So now I have, I typoed, I put 2 more classes. I have 3 more classes. Doesn't change the June timeframe, obviously. Unfortunately, I will be out during a little bit more of the weeks during the remainder of my coursework. I would like to, again, be thankful, express some Thanksgiving to Hydra in particular for shouldering an additional load, especially because this class, man, usually it's like 4 and 4. This one it's 5 and 3, and I don't like that at all, and I feel really bad about that. It's nothing I can do about it, but man. I know, and that's why I'm not trying to jump in, but it's close. It's close. So whenever I have assignments, I will not be on the podcast that particular week, just to try and, get those things done. I started that last time. Didn't really announce it, but I was just kind of off on a couple of weeks, and it helped. That is a thing that I look forward to being done with in June. It's been really good to learn all the things, but man, it's a lot of work. It's been a lot of work for a long time, and the end is nigh. So it's right there. Also, since last we spoke, I did hit Legend in Wild.
Nice.
It was the end of last month. It was, I think, the last day of last month because everything was so busy that I hadn't been able to get to it then. But I got there.
But you got there.
Yeah, buddy. And did so with a deck that we featured last week. Almost as though it was intentional to pick your brains and leverage that. Diabolically. So with Pure Libram Paladin is what I ended up getting there with. Good deck. I've been playing it still. Been a lot of fun. So it's been a real busy week. So that's been my incredibly busy week. Hydra, how has yours been, my friend?
Pretty good. Actually, I was playing towards the end of the month the Pure Libram Paladin as well. I know it was probably not this. I know your list was a little bit different. I was playing maybe one card different than what SchmoopyDady was playing. And it's just so fun.
Yeah.
It's just a blast of a deck. It does really well. But then the month started over, and if you know me at all, I had to do some pirate stuff. So I started off playing Pirate DH at the beginning of the month, and it's doing extremely well. I was playing on my phone, so I don't know my stats. All I know is that I laid in bed for an hour and a half, 2 hours or something, and I only lost 1 game. So it was going very well.
It's a deck that like nobody's talking about. That is sort of quietly showing decent stats on HS Guru if you look at it in like top 1K, and then if you focus in a little more, I think it's harder to find sample size, but like it's doing fine, which I don't 100% get because extra large Shadow Priest should eat it alive, but it does very well in the seed, and it does well into I guess some other stuff. I don't know. It's probably
there's a lot
fine.
of seed warlocks going on. So
oh yeah, you're gonna eat good.
I was
that
praying
deck does
on
beat.
them.
Yeah, that deck does eat. Deck does eat good into those guys.
Yummy, yummy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's going well, and I'm probably just going to continue on that train for now. And yeah, other than that, I mean, it's early in the month, but I have not updated. I have not finished my last book yet. I have a crunch coming up here because it is now the last month, and I need to get at least a few. And I think towards the end, when I got some time off, I'll probably try to squeeze in a couple. Like sit on the couch, drink some coffee, read a book. That
Do
kind of
graphic
thing.
novels count, or is that cheating?
I haven't done that, but I do have a book that is kind of more like a picture style book on my bookshelf, and I was considering using that to
Spot
like
run spot run.
actually. So Sheep might get this. It's a book that's it sort of based off of the Dark Tower series, but it's by someone else. It's called Charlie the Choo Choo.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it, but yes.
Union tried to get me to read this on stream once. He's like,
Yeah.
Dad, can
Charlie
I
the
do
Choo
this?
Choo?
Yeah, he's like, Dad, can you read this on stream? I do have a reward for like, redeem the Dad read me a story on stream. And so Union's like, if I bought this and sent this to you, will you read it on stream? And I said, no, I do not want you to know where I live.
I know where you live, so I can send you my copy when I'm done with it.
Less unsettling. Excellent.
Yeah, it's funny because I bought it as it's Stephen King adjacent, right?
Yeah.
So Sheep gets it.
Yeah.
And I bought it because it's sort of based on this train in the Dark Tower series with riddles and all this stuff.
He is creepy too.
Very creepy.
Yeah, so I have
It's
that, and
not
I was
a
like, I
nice
could just
looking book.
blast. I could just blast through it and like add to my list, but it sort of seems like cheating. I own it and I haven't read it yet. It's just on my bookshelf, my Stephen King bookshelf.
It sounds like choo choo cheating.
It kind of is choo-choo cheating. Now here's some other just weird random fact of something I'm going through right now. I woke up the other day as if half of my body was on an airplane and the other half wasn't. My ear is like at that thing where the stage where it needs to pop due to elevation gain kind of thing, and it won't. And it's now been like 36 hours, I would say, of that.
Wow.
And the last time this happened, it lasted for almost 2 weeks. And it's a very strange thing. What happens is I hear everything. When it happens, I hear everything technically twice, but like a millisecond apart. So when Rory meows, I hear like meow, meow. Right? And so when I put my headphones on and you guys started talking instantly, I was hearing it that way. And it like is not fun. I kind of get used to it as the conversation goes on.
Yeah.
But at work, we went into a boardroom, and like a smaller boardroom that didn't have any windows cracked or any ventilation or whatever. And when the door closed, it's like I was in a vacuum, and it thumped, and my ear thumped like a bass drum. And when people were talking, I could hear like my eardrum, like boom, boom, like extra bass in my ear. And I had to actually ask to be excused because I was just like, I can't sit here right now. I've got something going on with my ear. What happened the last time when this happened is I don't know how many days into it, but I had this sort of like weird vertigo symptom thing where I was going up a stairwell at work that it goes up one way and it turns in the other. And I was starting to go up it, and the whole like corridor stairwell did this thing where it like shifted and moved like at like an upward 45-degree angle, like spun. And I had to grab the railing and just like ground myself. I'm like, this is weird. I turned around and I went outside and it stopped. I don't know if this is where's a doctor? Dr. BOMD?
BOMD. Yo.
Explain to me what's happening. I don't know if it's a weird vertigo thing or what it is. I'm just hoping that doesn't happen again. It happened twice the last time. It also happened in the office. I was standing there and the whole room started kind of moving off to the side and I had to sort of like brace myself on the table for a bit and then it stopped. Anyway, it's not fun.
No.
And so I hope it doesn't get that bad this time. Maybe I just have a little ear infection and it'll be over with, but I'm just sort of fearing that thing doesn't happen. Imagine it happened driving. You'd be like,
no, that's not safe. That's not safe.
Just, turn into the skid.
Though it would be quite a
not
twist.
Skidding.
You're not skidding. No. Steer into it.
Yeah. Anyway, so update on that thing. Yeah, I don't know. We're hoping like coming up with some time off here in the winter towards the end of December to probably get some snowboard days. And we do live in a mountainous area, so there's mountains all around us we can go. So I'm hoping to take mini Hydra as many times as possible, like up to the lifts and do that thing. So that'll be cool. I'll take more pictures again like I do each year if we can get up there. I want to in the spring. We did that. If you recall last year, we did the sort of, I can't remember what it's called, the like splashdown thing where you go across.
Yeah.
They make like the pool.
Oh,
and you
yeah, the
have
slush
to, like,
thing.
The slush cup. And you have to like basically
and you puncture
surf
your
across
son.
it on your snowboard. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
he
it was
did
a
like
very important teaching moment.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, where I made it and he didn't. He like sunk to the bottom of the freezing water. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so looking forward to that. That's only like, that'll happen in probably March. It's only like 3.5 months away, something like that. So that'll be cool. Anyway, enough about me. SchmoopyDady, how was your week?
My week was really cool. So Monday, I felt bad because I'm sort of getting further and further involved with coaching soccer in my like little community club. It's a fairly large community and it's very sports oriented, but for whatever reason, the soccer club kind of like dissolved under. It's like you have to run it as like a nonprofit in my state, but also like you need to spend money and buy uniforms and equipment and pay coaches and whatnot. So like you're collecting dues from teams, but then you need a comptroller, and it sort of gets more and more complicated as it goes. And so for whatever reason, somebody just said, well, screw it, I'm not doing it anymore. And like for 15 years, there was no like official town program. So unbeknownst to me and any of this, like I didn't know any of this drama. And so I volunteered to coach Schmoopy's little rec team. I thought it was going to be very chill. I thought it was going to be very informal and like, hey, we've done this a million times, guys. And it was like the opposite. It was like the guy who's running it is a soccer coach, like he knows what he's doing, but like he's a little intense. Like for rec teams, we were practicing twice a week with a game on a Sunday, and like. We started where it's just like, all right, no goals, only passing, count, a pass is a goal, 2 passes is a goal. And it was very much like kind of, it made sense to me because I played soccer very competitively for a large portion of my life.
Well, yeah.
So like I get what he's doing, but I'm like, buddy, like these people farm onions and garlic. They like, this is not Barcelona. What are you doing? Like, so, and that's been some honest feedback where it's just like, no, they want to see him shooting on goal. And so like we added goals eventually, and we were always going to progress up to goals, but it was like very much trying to get,
kids want to kick a goal, man.
They just want to shoot. Yeah. And like my son loves playing goalie. And so I've been getting sucked further and further in because like you kind of look around and you're saying, okay, well, you are one of the more serious people here. and I'm getting tapped up to, I'll probably eventually coach Schmoopy in travel and whatnot, which is weird because it's just like, I don't want to live through my kid. I had my career. I'm good. But also he's a pain in the butt and will actively like refuse to do drills that are hard because I'm his dad. And so he's just like, no, Dad, this is hard and embarrassing and I'm not doing it right now. And so he sits on the floor and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? And I'll give him a little tap with my shoe. And so like, it's a great relationship. We're doing wonderfully. No, but he's like 99% of the time he's fine. But then there's like another like, and the percentages aren't going to make any sense. Don't try. But there's another 15% of the time that he is just completely unmanageable. And it's just like, all right, dude, you're going to sit on the sideline right now because I can't deal with your drama. Okay. I got 6 other kids here. So it's fun. It's a ton of fun. And he couldn't like the practices are example. The practices are shifting to 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. For his age group for like a pre-travel. And so Schmoopy's going to bed at that time, and not only that, but like all of his medication is gone. Yeah. So dude is live and unplugged at that time. Ain't no shot he's going to do anything with me in an organized fashion. He's going to be sprinting around that gym. He's going to be kicking the ball into his friends. He's going to be asking his friends to kick the ball into him. Like it's just going to be out of control. And so like he can't do that. So I was like, you know what? I will coach his age group though. And parents did sign their kids up for that. And it was in the gym. If you've never played soccer in a gym, the surface is much smoother and the ball rolls further and faster. And so it is challenging enough for a 5, 6, 7-year-old to dribble a ball outside in the grass where the grass is slowing it down. We're in a basketball court. And they're going everywhere, and some of the kids are picking them. Some of the kids are picking up the ball and punting the ball. And Tom's talking about futsal. We were not using futsal balls. Futsal balls are softer and they're more padded and they roll a little bit slower on an indoor surface. That was not what we're using full on balls. So the balls are like
FIFA
careening off of, and they're careening off the walls and stuff because again, they're pumped up to the proper PSI because like, come on, we do this right. Okay. And so it's absolute lunacy. And kids are spilling water on the floor and it's a basketball court.
No.
So like someone's going to die. So like, I'm like mopping it up with my shirt and like the 6 and 7-year-olds. And like, there's other kids who also their medication is worn off and I'm coaching them and like I'm not their dad, but like it got pretty rough. Anyway, so that part was a fun hour. Okay, that part was a fun hour. But it was actually really cool because it was supposed to be a tryout for the older groups. And so I volunteered. I'm like, listen, I probably can't do the 6-7s from 6 to 7 p.m. every Monday. That's probably like too much strain on my family, especially if my son's not going to be there. But then I started. I helped with the tryout for the older groups, and what they essentially did was the guy who runs it is great. He had like all these drills written out, like what he wanted people to do, and he's like, "All right, Schmoopy, you run it." I'm like, "Okay," because and he's like, "So the other guys that are going to be coaching them can like sit back and like make observations because it's a tryout, and they want to, make notes on players." I was like, "All right, cool." And so I got to run it, and it was fun because they weren't 6 and 7-year-olds, so I could be more of a jerk. And so I'm a little bit gruffer.
Play into your strengths, man.
It's basic. It wasn't streaming SchmoopyDady.
No, of course not.
Because like again, it's a sporting setting too, where a lot of that energy does have to be supportive. Like you can be.
You just changed the words a little bit.
You could be a little grumpier.
You mother lover.
No, but like one of the kids, and like I was doing 10, 11, 12s, and I was coaching them a little bit, and then I ran about half that tryout, and then I ran the entire tryout for like 13 to 17, and with the 15s and 17s, I'm putting on the penny, and I'm going in, I'm playing with them. I did tell one kid, I was just like, dude, I would absolutely smash you. You dance on the ball way too much. You got good feet. You gotta cut a little bit, make a little space, dump the ball off to somebody. Be as annoying as possible. Don't just sit there and let me hit you because I will freaking hit you. And he's like, thanks, coach. That was good advice. So, like, you know, just giving out life lessons. I didn't cream anybody. My my reputation as a player was very Smash Mouth. People remembered playing me because I probably put them on their butt. So, tuning that back because it's children, and also I'm 36 years old. I will break something. No, I wasn't a goon, but I had a coach that said that teams were made up of piano players and piano carriers, and you needed the right mix, because if there's too many piano players, who will make the beautiful, you know, there's too many piano players and no piano carriers, who will make music, and yeah, there's no pianos to carry.
There's no piano there for the piano player to actually play on. Like,
right,
you need
and
the carrier to get it there.
Too many carriers and no players, nobody plays the pianos. And so I was one of the carriers, obviously, as I chomp my way through that metaphor. And so you know, real drooler, knuckle dragger, but I would do a lot of brutal, dirty work that nobody else wanted to. Which brings me into the second half of my week, which is I had fun Hostage Mage and Garrote Rogue streams. Those were cool. Especially the Hostage Mage one, where I was primarily, you know, I got a list from NHL fan, and he's like, I went 19-2 with this legend, try it. So I was like, oh, okay, sure. And so I'm sitting there, and just like I used to on the soccer team, I'm torturing my opponents by slowly squeezing them out of the game with light shows, or in one case later in the week, all I copied was Potion, Sleet Skater, Solid Alibi, and I think something to freeze board, but I don't even think that. I think I was just gaining armor with Solid Alibi up, bounce more Romaths, my hands full of Romaths, my hands full of Sleet Skaters. The poor Holy Wrath Paladin was slowly realizing, oh my god, I have nothing to do this game. And finally left, which was good because I had to leave for my lunch break anyway. So, you know, I had some fun streams, had some cool decks, finding some cool little gems, and we'll go over where those decks do or do not sit in the Tempo Storm meta report later in the program. But yeah, no, I to summarize, I had a lot of fun coaching and kind of like being back in that environment, to the point where people were like, where do you coach? I'm like, I coach here. I don't coach anywhere. But it was cool, like getting complimented for that, and getting back in that environment and touching the ball, and then my knees hurt for 3 days afterwards. What was in the news?
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
And there was a lot of it, too. Yeah. So, starting with patch 31.2, which is quite a bit of the news as well. So, it's got a lot of Battleground stuff. We're not going to cover that, but, you know, if you enjoy Battlegrounds, know that it's there. Blizzlet in particular talked about it quite a bit this week, so check them out. They're good folks over there. But Wild and Wild adjacent news, Arena update. So, Schmoopy, will you tell us a little bit about Arena?
Sure. When it launched, I did not have a run going, so I missed out on my free ticket, Smash. The arena runs ended December 3rd, and the new sets in the bunch were Great Dark Beyond, Perils in Paradise, Titans, Festival of Legends, Skullman's Academy, Descent of Dragons. As a save file put on one of his stream titles the day of the patch where he's doing a run, it's just like, new meta question mark? Well, they swapped out 2 sets. So I guess that was the extent of the changes. I have done like 4 runs in the new arena season. Mage good, Shaman good. Death Knight still wholly obnoxious. But Mage, find stuff that discovers stuff, find good stuff, play that stuff.
Good to know.
Card advantage. Lamau. Same thing with that. That's another reason why like Death Knight's really good right now, because there's a lot of really good new cards that make so much stuff in Arena that it's hard to remove, and it's annoying. And Mage can be like, oh, all together now. Throw out a board of Nagas. discover another altogether now. Throw out a board of Nagas, and there's not a lot of clears in the format. So like the other opponent has to either like trade down, or you're trading and then you're playing another, and you're just trying to withering them out. And it's okay. The format's okay. That's all you need to know about Arena.
Thank you, my Arena correspondent, Mr. Daddy. So, in other news in the patch, this is all still this patch notes, Twist updates. So, Twist launched December 3rd. This was the date, earlier I was like, I don't remember if it was the 2nd or 3rd. It was the 3rd.
There you go.
Right there. So, the Wonders format is back. And notice, this season did not start at the beginning of the month. That's a first, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I was super weirded out because you guys were screenshotting your your Twist rank. And I'm like, but it was like a couple days in, right? Like, so we determined the 3rd. And I was like, these guys, what is going on? And I was like, maybe, because I opened it up myself and I couldn't see Twist as being open. And I'm like, are you guys looking on EU or Asia or something like that? Like, are you in the future? Because I don't have it. And then I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe my phone just didn't update or something like that. I had to force an update. But yeah, weird for it not to just start when everything else starts at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why they did that thing. It's kind of neat that it happened.
I know.
But there have been some ramifications that I think are probably because of that. Tell me why you know, or what you know, rather.
Because basically it came live on a Tuesday, the 3rd. The person who was supposed to hit the button called in sick on Monday.
Now that you say that, I think it's actually so that they could push out the data in the patch. That actually makes a lot of sense.
100%. It's probably that.
It's that.
And it's not the first time that if you remember, the first like Twist season started like the 28th or something like that of the month.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that's right.
So we did have like a ladder, quote unquote, reset or starting in the middle of the month. But it still was odd. It makes sense if that's when they had
That was the twist!
No, there's other twists.
That was the twist!
No,
You're
there's
right.
other twists.
That was
Don't
one
worry.
part of the twist.
Don't jump to conclusions. There are plenty of other twists. Don't worry.
So this didn't make it into the patch notes
very
because
twisty.
it was not in twist and all, but whenever Twist went live, it looked like you kept your rank from the previous season. So you know how I was lamenting about how I hadn't hit Legend last season? Well, I entered at D5. So it may have been the, like rank floor of whichever bracket you were in or something like that. But I started at D5, right? Well, the leaderboard didn't have any people at Legend in it, but there were people who were Legend.
Yes.
Fast forward to, was it later that day or the following day? It was the second day of the format. So fast forward to the second day of the format night, I hit Legend, 201. I knew this thing. And then, go to the leaderboard page just to get the picture for your personal records, like you do. And I was number 3, and it was like, well, something's a little funky there, huh?
Were you also in 201 as well? Did you look?
So the population at that point was 4, but I was number 201.
NHL fan was he said he played one game or something like that, or he opened up the app and he checked Twist and he was already in Legend. And so his main problem was he went to play the format and the Twist format. Listen, Twist queues. If you thought wild queues were bad, and Sheep knows this better than anybody else, if you thought wild queues were bad, when you get to a certain MMR and there's fewer and fewer people that can easily queue into you, Twist queues are a different breed of animal entirely. And so NHL fans rolling in, And he's like, I guess I don't play this format this month because it's been 10 minutes. I haven't seen anyone yet. So
Wow.
it's like, he's like, I guess I just don't play Wonders.
Yeah, and I mean,
Okay.
having been high legend in Twist, I'm not high legend right now. The problem is exacerbated there, and that's kind of whenever I was experiencing those really long queue times as well. So it's got to be so brutal to start the month out that way, though. Like, especially because the only people who I imagine, like the way that the MMR works, that you can queue into are the other people who are already legend and experiencing the same thing, and they don't have the goal of reaching legend. So they're just like, well, if I'm just going to sit here queuing, I'll just play a standard or wild or
play
arena
something
or
else,
tavern
a
brawl or
different-
battleground or a
different mode.
different game altogether. Like,
Well, joke's on all you guys who started off in Legend or D5. I got to be a bronze chicken.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah. I think maybe it's because I didn't play the last season of Twist, but I started off with 9
wouldn't
stars
blame you.
at bronze chicken. That's probably what it was, but I'll take the 9X and then I'll get to play the format all the way up.
It's more than 2x.
It is more than 2X.
Do
It
you
is. It
remember
takes
when
you
I
all the way
had
to
2x?
Diamond.
I do.
remember when I had 2x.
It was that very short. It was that very short season, which is
That
why
was
you remember
hilarious.
that there was that very short season. And I was
Because-
like, oh, I know exactly
We all
why he
were-
I had the
remembers.
same crazy look on my face. I just remembered it's bringing me back.
That was so brutal because we were all gifted 10X, right?
Yeah.
Except for
So-
you.
okay, because
Except
it was
for
based
me.
on your MMR,
Yeah.
and he had
Yeah.
Schmoopy had just done. What was it, a chat challenge, or like had tanked his rank?
I had dumpstered
for some
down
reason.
to like bronze 5 or like gold 10 or something, and they're
I
like,
think it, yeah.
"You can handle 2 stars, honey. You sit."
And since it was based on your
It's a
background
conceding your way
MMR
down. That's
and
so
not
funny.
just
very funny.
what rank you were, you didn't have 10x, and oh my gosh, that was so brutal. You almost got there too, and it was like it was less than 5 days or something. I don't remember.
It was like 2 days in. There was like 2 days of a season or something. So while they gave us 10X, we only had 2 days to make it to Legend before it reset again.
Yeah, and
Which is
Sheep
easy.
did his best to try and
Yeah.
co-op with
Especially
me, but
when you
I
have
was
10X.
I was too tired and had way too much beer to attempt to hit Legend at that point.
Man,
And so we
I
went
was
from like
trying to
D2
drag
and
you
3
kicking and
stars.
screaming into wins, and I was
just
failing.
refused. I just refused.
2X
like, okay, we're gonna
and
take
trying
this-
to get. It's too many games.
Well, I was at like Diamond 2 and 3 stars, and she's like, okay, we're going to take this turn slow. And I'm like, miracle turn. He's like, no, Schmoopy, no, wrong card. You actually picked the worst option. You said that a couple times, and you were correct. Yeah, no, that was, but like, I remember like the atmosphere surrounding about that conversation was just like, oh man, it's a bummer that the wild players all got 11x while the standard players were like 7x, 8x, 9x. We could have had this really epic race to Legend, and Martian hit Legend super fast. He was the first person to hit Legend on NA, if I remember correctly. And he said, well, like, my time playing the format now is done because I can't queue into anyone else. So it was like a double-edged, like, wow, tiering us and placing us at different skill levels, this really isn't all that enjoyable because, there's not enough people playing where I see a good swath of everybody at my skill level. And this is kind of that again, because it's ranking us at whatever we were ranked at in the last format. I was specifically Diamond 5 and 1 star, and Sheep was very specifically Diamond 5 and no stars. So I think it was
That's
exactly
true.
like where
It may have been exactly where we were.
exactly where we were. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess this will be a fun like Blitz to Legend, but that wasn't all that was going on either with the format.
Yeah.
Do you want to continue with the shenanigans?
Absolutely. So the patch notes say, and this is a point of context, that the cards in the Wonders format are Legacy which it explicitly states is distinct from Core and Classic. Curse of Naxxramas, Goblins versus Gnomes, Blackrock Mountain, Grand Tournament, League of Explorers, Whispers of the Old Gods, One Night in Karazhan, Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, and Caverns of Time. Well, the core set cards, in particular the Rastakhan's Rumble, Warcraft Rumble cards, on release made it into the game. And so they were really fun too. Note that I'm speaking past tense. So we had like Nomalia and we had like the, was it Warsong Grunt?
How many mirrors did we play where I was playing grunts, and like because we were having like active Sheep and I are having like active dialogue about how we're building. We're both playing Hand Buff Paladin. I took an old Sheep list. I'm updating it with stuff that I see is available. I'm like, well, somebody nuked me with Nomelia, so I'm going to put Nomelia in my deck. And I'm like, I think Warsong Grunt's going to be the nuts. And so I put
like,
that.
It's called Safe Pilot, by the way. Nobody says Nomelia in Rumble.
There's only one playable Nomelia. There's only one playable Nomelia. and so like Grunt technology got into Corbett's list. Like I posted my list in Discord, and he was just like, I mean, some of this is crap, but I'll use some of this. And the grunts made it. He's like, I'm full on the grunts. And so like I thought that was actually like one of the fun parts, because Wonders in and of itself was a very played out meta. Like it was very solved and kind of boring. And so I thought
you're welcome.
I thought the Warcraft, yeah, thanks Sheep for that one. Thank you. So I thought the Warcraft Rumble minions kind of added an extra dimension to it.
Yeah, and you know how I said then that I was kind of like, and then I was like, okay, I will try these grunts out. You've convinced me to try, and you were correct. Like the grunts were totally the way to go. Unfortunately, that is now in the past, because with a hot fix, they did push through the I would say banning of the cards, but they didn't really ban them. They just put them in the correct bucket, or however the background works. I know it's way more complicated than that, but they straightened the things out so that the card pool was as intended. And yeah, I liked them in there as well. I like the meta post. I've put oozes back in, echoing oozes back in. I put Argent Horse Riders back in. And I put one more thing in. Like just iterating on the deck, and that's what I really like about Twist, is even a solved format, if we only have it for a month, doesn't get too old, right?
At least it wasn't pre-built decks.
Yes. Big agree. Huge agree.
I kind of like the pre-built decks, though. I liked them sometimes. I liked 1 month of it. The second month I did not like. I was grumpy about it.
Yeah. I liked having them for 1 month as a different thing. I did. It wasn't the thing that resonated with me, and I was very clear about that even then. But not every twist is going to be, and that's okay. I didn't like how we went back to it a second month either, though, obviously. Yeah. Well, also about Twist, it gives us some forecasting into what's going to happen in the next kind of couple months. So, this first Twist format, Wonders, with the twist being that the Wonders format was messed up at first.
Yeah, that was
no real twist, but just Wonders format. Will run from December 3rd to January 6th. So already started. We're in progress. It'll go until 1 month from day of recording. And then seasons will still be monthly, and ladder rankings will still reset with the monthly calendar. So January 1 through 6 will be just regular Wonders. 7th through the end of the month, or whenever, will be the next one, which is Wonders XL, which is pretty much the same thing, but at least it has a twist to it. So the XL is you can have any number of cards from 30 to 40. And your health will be the same as the number of cards that you have in your starting deck. So if you decide to like have 33 cards, you'll start with 33 health and you'll go from there. It's still the same card pool. If it's like it was last time, it doesn't really change a whole lot. At the very least, the way that I play. Do you remember the last time that y'all played Wonders XL? If that changed anything with what you played?
Just to troll people. I think Meowth played like a 30. I think he played a 37 card deck. I think just to troll people, just to be like, it's a little. I think it's a little different than Renathal, right? Because I think the quality of cards to fill in are not there, and so you can absolutely make 40 card decks, like by all means. But this is when people are talking about but Renathal consistency. It's not there in the Wonders format the same way it is in Wild.
Can we do 20 card aggro decks?
Oh, that would be glorious.
No, because that's how you get 20 card combo decks and you die on turn 2. So
yeah,
no.
Very consistent. But why not try it? Come on, it's a twist, man.
Okay, twist, sure. We can make that a dumpster fire for a month. That's fine.
For 1 month. I like 1 month dumpster fires.
But to be fair, Twist has been a dumpster fire for longer than a month. I found this. Can we do reactions? I found this so unacceptable. Like, how do you have your ladder reset bugged on the most boring format ever invented after it's been offline for, what was it, like 5 months? So, like, we haven't had it since July. 4 months?
And it's an old format, and the launch is busted.
I thought they picked Wonders because like they were less likely to screw it up because it was so simple. And like I'm not really complaining about like the Rumble characters, because again I think they made the format more interesting with their inclusion, because it's just like, oh look, here's this new broken thing. Let's see how it changes up the format a little bit. Because the other format was just so stale. I don't know. Sheep, you are one of the like, if we're talking about the greatest players to play Twist, right? Because you have the emotional investment in this that I do not have. I could have a rat's patoot about a Twist. Honestly, I play it until it's not fun anymore, and then I quit. But you are in the discussion for one of the greatest Twist players ever because of your legend ranking and your imprint on the format. What was this like for you? Because like I was deeply unsatisfied.
So I was and still am like nostalgic for the Wonders format, for a number of reasons. You know, this was the Caverns of Time, which was special for me, like there. This was the hand buff like deck that got a lot of popularity the last time. It's been a while since we've played it. I don't mind reusing twists if it means that we get them more often. But note that I said if it means we get them more often. You just mentioned that the last time we had a twist was July. It has been 5 months. And now we are reusing a twist that I enjoyed, and I am enjoying again now. Like, I'm very positive about the actual gameplay. Like, my experience playing it is that I just want to play more of it. Like, that, honestly, that's what I'm having fun with now. I'm glad that it's back. I wish that we would see more variation, because the old twists are good and I like those. But like, if we waited 5 months for the things to just be reused things, I'm not sure why we waited 5 months. And it just kind of has me scratching my head a little bit. So that's kind of where I am at with it. Hydra, I know that you've been engaged with the format as well, before and now. what do you kind of think about the way that this has all kind of gone down?
I feel like the company doesn't have the capacity or the workforce to invest in the format. If you're telling me in 5 months they couldn't figure out some sort of other combination of different expansions or any other twist, if they couldn't figure that in 5 months, something that wasn't broken, I know that they're concerned about things that could be busted and whatnot, then there's just no real effort going into it, right? They're taking their teams, they're focusing on new expansions, or focusing on different things that they can sell us, whether it's cosmetics or like whatever's going on is not focused on twist at all. They had 5 months to figure something out, and then they just gave us something that we've had before, right? I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'll play Jade Rogue again. I played that before, it worked. Right? It's like
Corb put 2 decks, by the way. He has a tier list for Twist. It's 2 topics. It's playable, and it's Jade Rogue and hand buffed. Unplayable. Anything else? To your point.
So like the mode is seeing zero love as far as I can tell. And honestly, now we're going to do XL next. Whoop-de-doo. Like, it's the same thing. It just seems like there's not a lot of effort going there. There's so many other options. Think of all of the expansions we've had in the last 10 years, right? There's so many things they could do. Or they could maybe start, like, you know, when you play Battlegrounds and there's different, you can only have beasts or only get murlocs or whatever. Like, you could do stuff like that. Tribes. You do tribal twists. Like, there's like
ban
all
classes.
sorts of things.
Just ban
Every minion has every minion
Ban
type.
classes.
Like
Every minute is every minute type. Or like suddenly every
Great
card is a
Tavern
tri. I like, who knows? Like every card is no longer class specific. Who, like, whatever. Like, it could, that would be broken as heck. But
let's take some of the tavern brawls and just have them last a month. Like,
Yeah,
like,
you know how
like
many
the
of those there
amalgam
are?
one that I was just talking about was a tavern brawl. Then I'm like, wait, why don't we do that for more of them? There have been a number of them that like we've played for just hours, like nothing else but that. Like there have been a number of tavern brawls that I have triple digit wins before it's done. Like I love tavern brawl.
like, there is just so much, and I understand there's probably, they're trying to avoid certain things. This is why Patches doesn't have charge. Is they're trying to possibly avoid broken metas, people getting stale too quick. Well, guess what? It's stale when you re-release the same one over and over again. So who cares? Just do it.
So I think I know why they did the thing. And it is, of course, a business reason. So when Twist launched, the China server was not online. When Caverns of Time launched, the product that they sold along with it, the China server was not around. China's back, right? They gave the China server all of the cards. I'm sure that they're seeing a ton of engagement. How many Legend players have they had like every season since? It's astronomical, right?
I think standard on the China server hits 500 million people, like just Legend. So like expand that out to how many
Excuse
people are
me?
actually playing.
I think it was 500,000 and not million.
Oh, sorry, 500,000. 500,000. Like, yes, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. I
But
just added a
still,
zero.
that number
I
is
hate when that happens.
huge.
Yeah, like
Blister guy, this is your cue.
Added three
yeah,
zeros.
Blister Guy's gonna just absolutely just eviscerate.
3 zeros, not just
It's
one.
it's a weekly visit from down under. Yeah. But I just no, but like you know, if
Sounded
you're
nothing
talking,
like him.
no, it really didn't. And so, like, if you imagine, like, oh, look at that, 500,000 people hit Legend and Standard. Like, imagine how massive the ladder must be, and how it. If Legend is this thing that is
Great queue times.
Fantastic queue times. Can some of them come back? Can we have some of them come back? Queue times have been brutal. in the other formats. I feel like on the fringe formats, because we also have the next item in the news when we get there going on, the new Heroic Brawl, which I think is soaking up a lot of attention, but maybe not our golds.
The point being, tons of players engaging heavily on the China server who got all of their cards for free, which again, we agree with, like that they were without their accounts for however long. Like that was a great decision. We applaud that. But they haven't really been getting a whole, I'm assuming this is, I guess I haven't seen or heard anything, but I'm guessing that they haven't gotten as many sales as they would like. I'm sure cosmetic sales are probably pretty good, but like when you're not selling whole expansions, oh no. Well, they have Caverns of Time, this expansion that isn't in any of the, standard stuff, isn't in any of the things that they gave to people. Well, if they bring back the Wonders format and thus Caverns of Time, then they can sell the Caverns of Time product to the China server. So that's
Which
what I think is
also-
happening.
There's a large
Business
wild
decision.
audience in China as well, so they'd be interested in a wild exclusive, quote unquote, expansion, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. They'd be like, all right, North America, chill. You guys can wait. We don't care how angry you get. There is at least 500,000 Legend players, which is the top, 1% of ladder. So
At
you
least
do
there
the
could be
math.
500 million. You never know.
So that's why I think they did it. You know what? I'm glad that it's back. The initial post a while ago said that it would be back in October. I don't know if something happened to push it back, if there were internal discussions about selling a thing. This is why I think we are where we are with what format we're in right now. We will have more information about the February Twist season closer to when it goes live. So we know that there's
3 in a
going
row.
to be a February Twist season. Exactly,
Dun,
Hydra
dun,
3 in a
dun,
row.
dun, 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 dun.
But we don't know what it is.
Are you sure we're gonna have a February Twist season? Is the twist gonna be Twist is canceled? Question mark. It's.
I don't think that they would say
I wish
the
I
very
was kidding.
next month. I don't think they would say the very next month, but they said October and then it was December. So I don't know, man.
New twist. February twist is duels.
Oh, I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. Except
I would love to have duels back too.
I know why they can't, but I would love duels back. But nobody played it except for the people who played it, and the people who played it were like me and were like, closet
And I was finally
duels
really
mains.
liking it at the end, too.
I know, right? It was pretty sick.
It was. And that's when it was on just maintenance mode too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Raffle was in my Discord, checking out lists that I liked and changing stuff too along the way. But he was, him being a duels main was pretty sick, and the community was getting behind it and it was gaining some momentum, and it would break a lot. And it was a lot of fun, and we would all, and it was a little it's a arena, but not boring. And it would break a lot, and we would just have a good time. We just have a good time, and it's amazing high rolls. And it functionally would not work, and people would hack it and stuff. So there are reasons why we don't have it anymore. But yeah, you guys are right,
Because it would break a lot.
It would break a lot.
Well, the thing that you've mentioned before that is contributing to the breaking of the wild queue times is also the Heroic Brawl. So the Heroic Brawl has returned and is currently ongoing. So the patch notes say that it is this week, December 4th through 11th. So of course, ending on the Tuesday or the Wednesday for the way the tavern brawls work. That way.
Yep.
Pay an entry fee. It doesn't specify what it is. I imagine it's the normal $10 or 1,000 runestones or whatever. So pay an entry fee and compete in high stakes games until reaching either 12 wins or 3 losses, with prizing based on how well you do. And the prizing is consistent with previous Heroic Brawliseum rewards, anywhere from 1 pack for 0 wins to 50 packs, about 1,100 dust and about 1,100 gold, and 3 golden legendary cards for 12 wins. I'm not really engaging with the Heroic Brawliseum this time. I didn't actually hit Legend and Standard last season, but just it's not. I've been.
I didn't break out of bronze as standard last season. I didn't find the format interesting at all. And is there the same hype for this brawl as there is for other brawls? Like, I've seen people like banter like they were playing some brawls, and then yesterday they were just playing normal standard. Whereas I know Ron has been like grinding. He's like, well, I'll play brawl until I run out of gold. Like, that's cool, but like, is it fun? I don't get the sense it's fun. I don't know.
I don't get the sense it is either. Like, I've seen a few people post about it places, but like, I haven't seen the kind of like fervor that we normally see surrounding these heroic brawls.
Yeah, me neither.
So
I probably won't play it, honestly.
I probably won't either.
Sometimes I just do like a run to see what happens.
Yeah.
And, like, that's it. I don't really have an interest this time around.
I'll typically do the same thing, but I am like less than 300 gold away from when I know they mentioned when it is. I don't remember when it is. Whenever the mini set drops, getting that in gold with gold.
Is that, it's like early January. Is it January? I can't remember if it's January.
The StarCraft set?
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget if it would be January 7th or 14th, one of those two. It'd be like a Tuesday.
If I recall correctly, they mentioned it in the Warcraft Direct thing where they
it's a known
mentioned the thing.
I'm too lazy to go.
It's soon. All to say,
The 7th is the Tuesday.
I'm right around the corner from having that in gold, and I don't want to set myself back that much gold or pay $10 to do it. So I'm past due.
I have to buy that that mini set in gold.
Yeah, I mean, you have to.
I haven't been doing that, but that one I have to.
Yeah. Most of the time I'll be like, yeah, I mean, as long as you get the cards, it doesn't matter. You in particular, this one, I'm sorry, Hydra, but I think you do.
Like the heroes?
Right?
Like I need the golden hero.
You need golden Kerrigan.
Sarah Kerrigan? Oh yeah. Oh, and I don't know, did they show us what the emotes were? I don't know if they did.
I don't think so.
Because there's so many just like I need to know the catchphrases, the things that they say. So especially if it's like Kerrigan versus Jim Raynor. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm gonna like nerd out here. So like Kerrigan and Jim Raynor.
Yeah.
Right? So that's gonna be like the Terran versus the Zerg one.
Epic.
They used to be on the same team. And Kerrigan is then taken by Zerg and becomes a Zerg. And so they had this relationship and then they become enemies. Right? And there's just some funny stuff. There's this one scene where Jim Raynor and Sarah Kerrigan are talking and she goes, Jim! And he's like, what? And then she's like, or he goes, oh wait, right. You're a telepath. So and he was like, and so there's like this funny back and forth banter, like sort of between them, because she could hear what he was thinking, and I'm just wondering if like that's gonna be in there, like something like that. Just this history.
I imagine there will be some sort of like Easter egg at the very least between probably all three of the different heroes.
Yeah,
gotta be.
Hydra, I'm going to need you to whip up a PowerPoint and get some images. We're going to need a lore episode for the mini set, and Goliath is on the bench for this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
It's not exactly in his wheelhouse, so you're stepping up to the plate, sir. So good luck.
Yeah, mini set lore with Hydralisk on
Hydralisk.
on this date not announced, but that's possible.
You have to do a
That's
song,
possible.
some dramatic readings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You have to
And also
channel the bard.
No lid. Just gonna have to do your best Goliath impression that you can, because he would be missed for this lore episode. So we want to feel like he's still present. So yeah.
I'm stoked. It's gonna be so fun. I can't wait just to hear the sounds on each card, right? And those interactions between characters. I'm sure they'll put some effort into that.
I can't imagine they won't throw in Easter egg after Easter egg. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So just like we are much more excited about the next expansion, I imagine that's why engagement in this particular brawl is probably down. They probably actually sold less units by announcing that before than they would have if they had not done that thing.
But starships are meant to fly.
Okay, well, we are also getting pretty soon, December 10th through 31st, an event in our Hearthstone. This one centered around Bob the bartender. So, and it's a pretty like battlegrounds heavy one because these things don't typically have much battleground stuff in them, right? So this is called Bob's Holiday Bash. And Bob is hosting a holiday bash this year with a special in-game event. So it is going from December 10th through 31. The first prize is constructed card, Bob the bartender. I'll go over all the rewards and then dive into what Bob does after that. So you get Bob and then a token for battlegrounds. They introduced a new thing where you can re-roll a hero. And yeah, and those things cost money, or you can unlock them on Battle Pass and stuff like that. So they're introducing a new way to monetize the mode. So those little coins that you see there, those are Battlegrounds things.
I was confused.
Yeah.
And now I am not.
You've been illuminated, edumacated. There we go. So then the second rung, you get a Great Dark Beyond pack and another token. The next rung, you get the same thing. So Great Dark Beyond. Oh no, you get 2 Great Dark Beyond packs and a token. And then on the last one, you get Golden Bob the Bartender, 4 packs and a token.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I don't really need those packs anymore, but then when I opened my season, the November season rewards, I got the signature Ceaseless Expanse, and I just crafted it too.
Oh no.
Get absolutely wrecked. Holy cow.
Just crafted.
Hold on to
because I
it.
told you that's the only one I
Hold
was
on
missing,
to it.
right?
Hold on to it. It
So I
very well
crafted
could see a
Ceaseless
nerf.
Expanse.
Hold
And
on
then I opened it like 2 days later in the signature form, and I was like, "You think this is funny, Hearthstone?
You think this is a game?
Funny?"
It's a good card. We can't have good cards in standard. It'll catch a nerf. Don't worry. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
it'll be 95. No, 110. That's the other way around.
No, they're going to go the other way. And then the Holy Wrath bros are like, yeah. And Wild's like, wait. No.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I was just like, curse you. Anyways, so it's still, for a lot of people that don't have all of the cards from the expansion, this is absolutely amazing, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
So, sweet. I like it. And now it's going to force me to play Battlegrounds. Every time they do this, I become a Battlegrounds addict for a little bit. So that's cool. Like, it makes me play the mode. And then even when I'm done, I'm like, yeah, okay. I'll not, play Battlegrounds. I'm like, yeah, but that was kind of fun. So then it kind of trickles on for a little while and then goes away. And I have some IRL friends that play Battlegrounds also, so then we talk about it and all that sort of stuff. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I always enjoy Battlegrounds when I play it. Up until last Battlegrounds season, I always completed the Battlegrounds pass.
Wow.
I didn't complete the Battlegrounds pass last season, though. So I haven't gotten the one for this season yet. I'm going to, eventually dip my toe back into the format and see if I can.
Never
But
completed it.
life's been busy, so I'm not going to pay for it if I'm
Do you
not
get
going to
experience
be
on
able to get it.
both tracks, or just the Battlegrounds one now?
So whenever you
They
complete a
fixed that.
Battlegrounds game, you do get like just regular experience for
okay.
completing it. But then in order to get experience along the Battlegrounds pass, there's like different specific, like essentially quests.
Yeah.
And they get banked. And
they
that,
stack. Oh my gosh.
I love that they stack.
On Team 5, stack regular quests. You can do it for BGs. Do
We
it
have
for
the
constructed.
technology.
Come on.
And so the rewards, the experience that you get for that is exclusive to only the Battlegrounds pass. So you can play Battlegrounds, and if you're not like, if you just like have one to play like Murlocs and Quillbore or something, and you hate playing Murlocs and Quillbore is really good. Like you wouldn't avoid that one.
Why would you not want to play Quillbore?
Yeah, right.
Blood gems are amazing.
Exactly. So that's a bad example, but say you just hate playing them, you would never complete that quest.
Right.
The only thing you'd be missing is experience along the Battlegrounds rewards track. And if you don't care about that, then whatever.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
But in Constructed, Bob the Bartender with this event is coming. So Bob the Bartender is a 6-mana 4/5 battle cry. Choose an action from the Battlegrounds. And so every time you play Bob, you get to choose from all of these 4, or will, because he's not in the game yet. We'll get him on December 10th. So the 4 options are Freeze the Shot, which freezes all enemy minions, Recruit a Minion, put an enemy minion into your hand. Your opponent gets 3 coins. So basically you bought it because whenever in Battlegrounds you buy something, you don't use mana, you use gold. So hence your opponent getting 3 gold and you getting one of their minions. So you're buying it from the shop. Makes sense. Refresh the Tavern, discover a 3-cost minion, refresh 3 mana crystals. Okay. And then find a triple. Draw a minion, get 2 copies of it. Guess which one of those is the most powerful?
Probably the freeze board. I'd imagine the neutral board freeze for every class ever. Yeah, that seems like that might be the most annoying thing that we have to worry about in Standard and Wild.
You could tutor something with a draw a minion, get 2 copies of it, right? Like that seems insane.
That's what I was
4
thinking.
options. I like all 4 options. No, the neutral board freeze is what's going to annoy Standard the most, I think. I think the neutral board freeze in Rogue is going to be...
freezes people all the time.
This is
neutral.
Yeah, I mean,
is
and
annoying.
look how well people love the freeze mechanic. It's absolutely healthy for the game.
Or you've heard how much I hate it.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm being facetious. Yeah, it's not great. And this is gonna slot right into Hostage Mage, which we're gonna talk about later in the podcast. Yeah, no, that's. I think there's merit to like. I'm not gonna lie. I think there's merit to all 4 of these options in certain scenarios. I don't know what like Shark, Scabs, Bob, refresh mana crystals can do, but I imagine it's kind of messed up. So like I'm waiting for Rogue players to get their hands on that. That seems gross. You're right. The minion tutoring's good. I just think it's slow for at 6 mana.
Oh, it is. We're gonna do that with Yogg, and we'll play it twice.
3 times.
Oh yeah, yeah. Get 2
People
copies,
hate
that's right.
Priest. You realize you can bounce minions in Priest, right? Like, like Bob, Seance, Bob, Power Word, whatever, Bob. Synchronize, thank you.
I knew a name.
Just bobbing around. Just like Bob bobbing around from hand to hand.
What does Bob say? What does Bob say when you play Bob? Does he say Bob? Bob.
I don't think he probably says stuff like, "You got this. You're way ahead.
You are so.
I got this.
You
I'm
are
way
so
ahead.
dead. We'll see.
We should be able to find out on December 10th.
That's soon.
Yeah, buddy. Well, this isn't wild specific, but I mean, I love me some music. Enjoy music from the tavern. Finish the year out strong with Hearthstone Music of the Tavern Volume 2, releasing on December 18. So 50 in-game tracks will be launching on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and Deezer. Whatever that
What's
is.
Deezer?
Not fall. No shot. No shot. No shot.
Is this going to include the StarCraft music they said they're adding to the game? Because they did say they're adding StarCraft music.
Only time will tell. I doubt it'll make
Yeah,
volume
not
2.
yet.
Yeah.
No, volume 3 probably.
Or 4, 5, 6. I don't know how many they have planned. We'll have to see. 50 tracks though. That's a lot. I really wish that they would release
50?
Yeah.
Those are 50 songs.
Well, none of them are particularly long. Like in game, they typically loop. I don't know. I do still wish, though, and would like to, again, beseech any merchandising team to just release this on vinyl. Like, there's a market for that kind of stuff. I know I'm in that market. There are other people, too.
Are some of these like the cinematic songs?
I
Like
don't
when
think
Reno
so.
flexes on the
Maybe. I don't
on the camels?
I think they're in
1000%.
game. They specified in game on this one, so maybe in a future
In-game.
volume. We haven't gotten them yet, and since they said in game tracks, I don't think we're getting them here. I hope we get them. I want them, but I don't think that they're included in this.
Yeah, do it right. Give us vinyl. You're right, Sheep. I would buy this if it was on vinyl for sure. Want to make money? Sell me a record.
Right?
I'm rooting for you guys, except like if they're not gonna make more King plushes and sell them when this is literally an infinite money hack, I don't
Yeah.
I don't know
fair.
what they're I don't see vinyl coming. I don't know what it is. But they absolutely should. You know, and like free the plush, man. Free the King plush.
They did a drone light show somewhere. I don't know where that was. Did you guys see that on Twitter?
No,
Blizzard did. I'm guessing it was. Well, it wasn't where I live, but it was just posted like yesterday or something on Twitter where they did the main logos of all of the different. There was like Diablo. They did Hearthstone, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, and they had the Hearthstone cards in the skies. Like it was at night being
Whoa,
formed
cool.
by the drones.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
so
it was
cool.
super neat. I saw it on Twitter today.
cool.
So if they can do that, they can make a record. I'm saying.
They can sell us King plush. I don't need one, but like half my chat wants it.
I want all of our friends to be able to also acquire King Plush, and I'm not sharing mine. However much I want.
You could probably sell it and like get a mortgage payment or two out of it.
I doubt it would sell for that much.
There could be some desperate people.
I don't
You never
know. Yeah.
All right. Well, it is now time to transition over to the Tempo Storm meta snapshot. So, Schmoopy, guide us through the journey through the eye of the Tempo Storm.
Sure. I'm not going to read the entire foreword because I don't have the patience to do that, and you guys don't have the patience to read it. So I'll give you the TLDR for all the Zoomers out there. Essentially, the best deck in the format is probably extra large Priest at the time of the writing of this report. Extra large aggro Priest. We've already covered that deck. Holy Wrath is really good behind. I've already covered that deck. Seedlock doesn't crack tier 1, which I agree with. Seedlock is a very polarizing tier 2 deck. It's very good at what it beats. It's not too good into what beats it. And so things like Barnes Druid or Ysael Druid, whatever you want to call it, the deck that I took to Legend the last 2 months, that's right now that is being considered a tier, I think it was a tier 1 or at least a tier 2 deck, when in reality it's been fringe like a fringe tier 3 goofy combo, but it absolutely feasts on seed because it's just so much faster than seed lock. So unless the seed lock is teching rats or some sort of anti-combo, you're just not beating it. I think I lost to maybe 1 seed on my climb. So it's basically going through and saying things that I agree with, which is essentially that the best decks in the format are not the Demon Seed. While also saying simultaneously, that's okay. We should probably still nerf it to the ground. It's limiting variety in the meta. It has all sorts of outliers as far as sentiment amongst the public. Notice we're not defending it anymore. Me personally, I think Hearthstone takes a lot of the sport out of playing against the deck, where the deck would cut itself too deep. And now it has a 0-mana arena where literally I'm watching people just spam green cards until they can go from 8 to 30. It's just absurd. So, the public's against it. It's going to get whacked. It deserves to get whacked. When it does get whacked, hopefully it's something that is significant and not a slap on the wrist. I have, a little closer to when we think that might happen. I think we could probably prognosticate some ideas because I have some ideas on how they would address that. But I think a deck that you should be looking for that is way better than Seedlock is Hostage Mage. Hostage Mage is a deck that we refer to in Wild, in case you are unaware, that seeks to build a Grandmaster Romath that will bounce itself infinitely back to hand, whilst also providing lethality and or some sort of survivability. What does that mean? Well, that means that if I cast an extra Frost Nova that did not start in my deck, Grandmaster Romath, or I will refer to him here on out as Roro, will recast a Frost Nova for you. So I cast Roro. Oop, your board is frozen. Well, that's not normally a big deal, except if you look in our ETC, you'll see that there's a Potion of Illusion there, so that now Romath casts Potion of Illusion and bounces himself back into your hand, a little 1/1 copy. And so you start spamming the 1/1 copies and filling up your hand with more and more Romaths. There's also a Light Show in the ETC, and the Light Show is going to ramp up with each Romath that you play. So as early as, let's say, turn 6, in theory, I have heard, or 7, you can burn somebody down with 80 HP. It's kind of disgusting. I think it's 8 or 9 Romaths with Light Show ramped up to take out a Holy Wrath Paladin or a Reno Paladin from 40 health and Cariel up. It is possible in one turn. It's a little APM intensive, and animations are a nightmare, and you probably can't do it, but it's you could do it is the point, and it's gross. And so this deck being good is a little yikes. Being able to spam infinite ice blocks, being able to spam infinite solid alibis. We printed Sleetscaper for reasons. I don't know if Sleet Skater and Solid Alibi were ever meant to be played next to each other. Probably not, because allowing opponents to only deal 1 damage to you at a time, while also gating armor from 8/8s and 12/12s that they have on board. It's a little disheartening for the opponent.
And freezing them in the process.
Well, and also freezing their board so that they can't, at times as the Hostage Mage, you're not taking them hostage, you're beating them with tempo because your minions can attack and theirs can't. I love this deck. I have a lot of fun playing it. It's sadistic. I play Wild. But
so SchmoopyDady,
it's fun.
I am reading American Psycho right now, and Patrick Bateman would play this deck.
Oh yeah, Patrick Bateman would play Hostage Mage for sure,
and he would loop at Sip to be the square probably. And so keep an eye out for this deck. There's some people who consider this deck to be the best in the format. It could be. It really could be. The one saving grace that we have for this deck is that it is kind of a difficult pilot. It's very easy to mess up. It's easy to not time your survivability. Maxi considers it to be one of the hardest in the format because you kind of have to play a little bit of everything, and you kind of have to know what every deck you're playing against wants to do in order to set yourself up for the best position to win. So, hand management is a disaster. There's several times on stream I will burn cards on purpose because it doesn't make sense for me to play anything else that I have, and your hand gets super jammed up. Volume Up is one of the best draw spells in the deck. We are also now playing, are there any new cards, or is it just... Yeah, it looks like nothing's new, but a bunch of the rogue stuff got nerfed, and we're playing it anyway, which speaks volumes.
Whenever I was playing Hostage Mage, it was before the inclusion of all the rogue stuff. I really love all the rogue stuff. Obviously, getting coins is huge. It looks like
printing mana is disgusting. So, like, it's like you'll play Romath, and then eventually, like, if you did have another 9 mana Romath in your hand, you'd be able to play it eventually because it's just you just keep printing mana after mana after mana, which is where I thought that the Ceaseless Expanse is like a cute thing you can do in this deck. Because if you go Ceaseless Expanse, I'm assuming 0 mana, into a Romath that plays Potion of Illusion that makes at least 1 mana, you have an infinite combo because then you play Ceaseless Expanse and then you play Romath, and then you play Ceaseless Expanse and then you play Romath.
I like
now
that.
Now it is an APM combo that's infinite. That if your Romath is producing Light Beam, that in theory you unless you lose time on the turn timer, you're waiting for the graphics to play out. But like that's an insta kill. So coming to a Mark Makes near you video, I guess something like that. It's like a simple combo, but you can go infinite with it. And so like I've had people ask me, well, does Ceaseless Expanse go in here? It could. Like you probably cut something like Theo, but Theo's really good. So like up to you, along those lines.
So the one card that I was seeing here that I was kind of missing myself was Bran, because whenever I was playing it before, Bran Sleet Skater, you remember that like this, sure. I think this was the best game I've ever wild game I've ever played. And I Bran Sleet Skatered for thousands of armor and ended up actually defeating a Linecracker Druid that had bonkers stuff. The whole thing was just incredible, and only really made possible with Bran. So I don't know if Bran is necessarily the right choice for the deck, but if I decide to sleeve up some Hostage Mage, then I'll probably find a way to work him in. Probably Theo is the one that I was looking at as probably the most obvious cut. If I wanted to include Ceaseless Expanse too, like I don't know, maybe like
I would say
Varden.
No. No. Probably one of the draw minions. Like Gold Panner is fine, but it's just a Gold Panner, so you just probably cut the Gold Panner. The Costume Singer is also like sort of a Marty touch to go get your secrets. Do you need 2 of them when you've got other ways to draw spells? Probably not. You probably get rid of
I can see the Costume Singer in particular. Yeah.
I don't know if we need 2 mana biscuits. I think they're great because, like I said, the deck suffers from a lot of hand space issues. So, like, just literally just being like, biscuit, and just now I've freed up a board spot, but also now my Romath is primed to print mana. That's pretty nasty. But those are places where I would think about flexing it. This deck does very well into Big Shaman, which is looking like it's like fringe tier 1, if not tier 1. It does very well into the top of the meta that it plays against. This deck does very well into Paladin. Paladin is basically free. Free, especially once you start looping Solid Alibis. Holy Wrath has no chance. It's fine into seed. I hear it's like 50-50. OTZ thinks it's seed favored. I'm not so sure. XL Shadow Priest, that's probably one of its worst matchups. That being said, we run Frost Nova, we run Solid Alibi, we run Radiance the Gain Armor, we run Ice Block. You get the idea. Like you can definitely scam Shadow Priests with this.
Yeah, the deck is really fun, and I look forward to trying this version. I'll probably jam Bran and Ceaseless Expanse in.
This deck is the devil, Bobby.
Yes, it is.
It's
gross. It probably should get deleted. The only other deck that I thought was really cool KVLT made a Garrote Rogue, and it was really like you almost don't need an image for it, because if you look up like the old Garrote Rogue list, it was basically you came down to like 2 cards. There was a single Fillet Fighter and there was like a Street Trickster, and we cut the Fillet Fighter and the Street Trickster for Ethereal Oracles. And now what Ethereal Oracle does, which is a new card, is it has +1 spell damage. So obviously it has Garrote synergy there. And then it has Spell Burst, draw 2 spells. Well, what's really cool is if you pair it up with Garrote, Garrote deals the damage, shuffles the bleeds in, and then the Spell Burst can actually draw the bleeds out. Any bleed that you cast is a cast when drawn, which means that you're not just drawing spells now, you're also drawing an additional card, which can be anything, not just a spell, and just filters through. And and you can step the Ethereal Oracle. It completely changes how you play the deck, and you can be a lot more aggressive. And Toy Boat is a lot less important, and I think it's very good. Do I think it's tier 1? I would struggle to say it's tier 1. It's really hard. I threw at least 3 or 4 games the night I was basically trying it. But when it works, it's beautiful. And it feels the same, but it feels different from the old version. The old version you really had to deck out. This you do not have to deck out, which is really neat. So another deck to try.
I'll probably give this a spin. I played Garrote, it's a while back now. I guess maybe like last year, like early on this year, I guess maybe. And it was fun. Like I really enjoyed it. And if it's back with a twist with this Ethereal Oracle, it sounds sweet. Like I'll take it.
It's cool, and the thing is that I think that you'll like it is I think there are times you said when you were choosing between Pirate Rogue or Garrote Rogue, you're just like, well, the Garrote Rogue, like the combo turn is awkward sometimes. And I think what this does is this plays a lot more like Pirate Rogue, where it's going all in on the aggro part. Like I don't even like in situations it's probably correct to like hold stuff back to like boat, coin, and pop off. But a lot of times you're just making boards. Yeah. You're just making boards because when in doubt, you can like draw with the oracles instead of drawing with the toy boats. So that extra draw gives you some extra balance. So you just sort of go all in. It's more of an aggro deck, and then you're not really comboing so much as it's chip damage into damage from hand finish. I don't know. It's again, it's hard, but it's like give it a spin. It's fun. It's addicting. And I think decent.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we haven't seen Ethereal Oracle in a few more wild decks with how like ubiquitous it is in the standard meta. It's a good card. I mean, I've seen it a few times, but I haven't seen it nearly as much as I anticipated.
I put it in my Odin Warrior and then run 2 safety goggles. And then also you can kind of, if you have the mana for it, you can Oracle and Aftershocks. And while that doesn't draw you any cards, it does bring the Aftershocks AoE up to 5. And 5 is like one of those like special numbers that we kind of look for in Wild sometimes. Like Shield Shatter's 5. That it kind of works, and I like it. So I've been playing it in my Odin Warrior. Like you said, I think it'll find its way through.
This is the way. Well, one other item that I want to mention, it's kind of sort of for this week, kind of sort of for next week. So the Hearthstone Masters Tour World Championship starts next Friday. So Friday the 13th of December. So for our next episode, the first day will, depending on time, I don't remember or know if they've announced times, but I'm assuming if it's like most of the time, we will have the first day of the World Championship behind us, or at least almost, by time of recording. And then, of course, it will finish up on the 15th. So excitement abounds, and I mean, I'm cheering for Maxi. Like,
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Golden boy.
I want him to win. Like, I want it to be empirical proof, scientific evidence. And I didn't make this joke initially, obviously. You said it on Here First, Schmoopy, but like the Born to Be Wild listener series.
Yes,
It's already harder than a Masters tour.
it's true.
That's correct.
It's got to be harder than a World Championship.
Absolutely. 1000%.
And also, of course, we love Maxi in general. Like,
Yeah.
great dude, incredible player, wonderfully ambassador for the format. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more discussion item, or news item / discussion item, and I think we've done most of the discussing part of it. But I did want to draw attention to the "What in the World Happened to Twist" article posted on Tempo Storm as well. So written by NHL NJ Fan 1, Marty, friend of the show, of course, covers the very storied history of Twist, which we kind of alluded to kind of throughout, there being issues ongoing. If you've been a long time listener of the show, then you've heard us talk about those ongoing. This article does a great job of covering the history, putting it into context, and really questioning what has happened to Twist and kind of what are we really gonna see from it. And I mean, obviously that's an open question because obvious reasons we would have reported it earlier if it was like, oh my gosh, Twist news. But great article. I know, Schmoopy, that you've read it already as well. Is there anything that I kind of missed that you want to make sure that we highlight from the article?
No, just how scuffed everything is, and like it appears to NHL fan that like Twist is kind of the forgotten mode that they don't want to put resources towards. Like I don't. Do they want to make it so disappointing that like Twist goes away and we're all like, hooray! Like it's like I don't quite get it. So that was mostly it. That's just that extra little like, are they serious?
And we had Marty and I and Schmoopy and Marty, individual combos, like had talked about it in different ways, and it's been a journey. It has been a journey.
Unrelated Advice with SchmoopyDady.
SchmoopyDady,
Hydra.
you mentioned earlier about Schmoopy playing soccer on turf and playing on a waxed gym floor, right? And talking to the ball, moving faster, moving slower, that kind of thing. And it got me to think. It got my head actually really thinking. Are balls like tires? So, in the winter, you know that the pressure in your tires due to weather and temperature it tends to go down, and I would assume that happens with your balls. Now, do you need to compensate for this when you're playing? Do you need to compensate for temperature? Do you need to compensate depending on what surface you're playing on? SchmoopyDady, are balls like tires or not? Please explain.
They are absolutely like tires in that they do, in fact, lose pressure when the weather gets colder. In fact, if you keep your ball bag in your trunk during the fall, when you would typically be playing soccer, it gets hotter, it gets colder. You will have to adjust the pressure in your balls, and so the way that you adjust pressure in a soccer ball is you use a tool called a ball pump, and you insert a ball pump, and so you use pivnert, and you increase pressure by adding volume, and because there's a lower temperature.
With that needle, you stick the needle into the ball.
Yes, and this is actually very important. All right, you want to moisten the needle before you insert it. That's not like that's straight up. That's just the proper way to do it. Because otherwise there's a decent chance that the needle itself, A, won't get through the rubber seal, but also B, could damage it. And so you actually do want to moisten the needle before you use the ball pump, which is, I feel weird doing it every time, but it's
you just put it in your mouth a little bit.
Yep, it's strictly correct.
Yeah.
Wiser words have never been spoken. And you heard that on
More to be wild.
What? I just wanted to know if balls were like tires.